3 weeks have passed since an Air France Concorde crashed in Paris, killing 113 people. In that time, British Airways has insisted its fleet of 7 planes is safe. Today, the company was forced to change its mind. The Civil Aviation Authority has said that from tomorrow it would suspend the plane's certificate of airworthiness. So what do we know now that we didn't know at least a week ago? For the first time today, the Civil Aviation Authority has accepted evidence from the French investigators that the Air France crash had a single cause and that Concorde's airworthiness certificate should be revoked. In a statement, the CAA said, "Over the last few days, it has emerged that a single tyre burst was the cause of the accident. And as a result, we are of a view that the certificate should be suspended." British Airways Concorde has been flying since the day after the crash. But this morning, British crash investigators told the airline they would be advising the CAA that Concorde be grounded. British Airways recalled a Concorde bound for New York as it was heading towards the runway.
The BA team have always put safety first. We've been liaising with the investigators and with the regulatory authorities in the UK on a daily basis since the accident, and that's why our Concordes have kept flying. We've had complete confidence in them.
So is this now the end for Concorde?
I hope not. But clearly we'll need to look at the information and reflect based on that information as to where we go from here.
In a statement, the airline pointed out that the British CAA was in complete agreement with our decision to resume Concorde services shortly after the Air France crash. So what changed their minds?
We'd be taking that decision in the light of new evidence that's come to pass 3 weeks after the original accident. We've always said all along that we would act when we got evidence of a problem which we didn't have until now. And we believe, through our own contacts with the Air Accident Investigation Branch, that this evidence will be made available to us tomorrow morning.
Last week, French investigators said a piece of metal on the runway had probably slashed a tyre, flinging rubber into one or more of the fuel tanks on the left wing. It's not the first time Concorde has had problems with its tyres. In 1993, at Heathrow, a British Airways Concorde burst a tyre while taxiing, shattering a water deflector that then punctured a fuel tank in a wing. As a result, British Airways voluntarily strengthened the water deflector to prevent it breaking up. Air France did not. While those modifications may have been among the reasons why British Airways decided to keep flying its Concordes, today's decision by the CAA left the airline with no choice but to suspend its supersonic fleet. Well, we're joined now by David Learmount from Flight International and by David Wiltshire MP, a Conservative whose constituency is under the Heathrow flight path. David Learmount, what do you think changed the Civil Aviation Authority's mind?
An accumulation of information and some things which were theories becoming certainties. It's now certain that the tyre was the cause. That's been stated officially for the first time today, although we've known it probably was for quite some time. As soon as certainties are available, you can calculate risks. The risks have now been calculated and found unacceptable, so it's a simple decision.
So basically it wasn't anything really new since a week ago when we knew it was likely to be the tyre?
There's going to be a press conference tomorrow at 9:30. I don't think they're going to announce anything radically new. I may be wrong, but I think that we know now the essentials of the reasons why that they've made this decision.
Well, David Wiltshire, why do you think it's happened now?
Well, I can't begin to guess. All we can do is speculate. We have an extraordinary position where an aircraft is being grounded because somebody says there are reasons, but nobody will tell us what they are. And I find that quite unbelievable. If there are reasons, we should have been told, because what's happening now is speculation is running rife all over the place. The gossip that's doing the rounds in my constituency and at Heathrow is doing no good whatsoever to the reputation of an aircraft which may have a future or it may not. We need to know the facts.
What difference do you think this makes to the French, given that British Airways has suspended its fleet?
Well, one of the rumours that's doing the rounds at Heathrow is that there's been a huge amount of pressure from the French onto us to do what they've done. I mean, one can only speculate, and speculation doesn't help, but certainly there's that rumour at Heathrow.
But why should they want to do that?
You'd have to ask, if it's true, you'd have to ask the French why they want to do it. I don't know.
But you're hearing rumours, aren't you, about that?
Absolutely right, yes, there are those rumours. But that's what will happen. When the truth isn't told, people will speculate, and the only way to stop that sort of speculation is to tell us the truth straight out. To announce that we're going to suspend it tomorrow is no way to look after the safety of aircraft and to look after the interests of my constituents.
David Eamonn, given that the Civil Aviation Authority is wholly independent, isn't it? So it couldn't come under any pressure, whatever the gossips doing the round are.
Yeah, it's non-political. It's a quango, to be precise.
So there could be no pressure from the French or from the French
No, I don't think
government
so.
or authority?
Interestingly enough, and again, this is a piece of speculation on my part, but I think that the French were really rather glad to see Concorde still continuing to operate, even if it felt awful that they themselves couldn't. I think politically it would have been absolutely impossible for the French to have operated Concorde at the moment, and so soon after the accident. I mean, politically, think of what
But that's because it's a state-owned company, isn't it?
Well, no, it isn't only that. I mean, think of the people who died in this were Germans. Germany is absolutely horrified by this tragedy. They admire Concorde, but you know, I think it would seem like a travesty for Air France to have resumed. I don't think they could have done until things were more certain. Now things are more certain. So far from getting Air France back into the air, it has now made things certain enough that the risks are too high, and therefore Concorde has been grounded.
David Watcher, we've had the Civil Aviation Authority refer to new evidence. As we're all saying here tonight, we don't know what that is. There's a press conference tomorrow. Is it odd that it has to happen like this, that even perhaps British Airways don't necessarily know why they're grounding their fleet?
Well, as I understand it, British Airways do not know. I think we heard the person from the CAA in the interview earlier saying that he didn't actually know yet, and he was going to be told tomorrow. It's the Air Accident Investigation Board who are the people who know, and in terms of who puts pressure on who, the AAIB have been working closely with their French counterparts, and they are technical experts, and it could well be, I suppose, again, the speculation that Heathrow suggests is that the French experts have put the pressure on the English experts, who have now come to a conclusion which they're going to send tomorrow to the CAA. For the CAA, which is a quango and above being persuaded, tomorrow they're going to act upon what they're going to be told. But in the meantime, it is chaos.
If we had all these acronyms speaking to each other a week ago, wouldn't we have got to the same point then?
No, I think they had to have certainties in order to make a risk assessment. Risk assessments are simple maths. Now, think of this simple piece of mathematics. Concorde, in all its operating time, and this means both fleets, British Airways and Air France, has flown 72,000 flights. Only that. It doesn't fly very often. The average for accidents throughout the world's jet fleet is that there is one accident for every 1.2 million flights, one fatal accident. Concorde hasn't even got a tenth of the way towards that. It's simple maths.
Will it fly again, yes or no?
I think it's going to be so expensive to get it airborne again, it's very likely that it won't.
Gentlemen, thank you both very much.